So we're gonna get it, okay? Hey, what's up, Yodi gang? This is your boy Rishan, aka Kaita, aka Silverback Gorilla, and we back with another banger. Today we gonna go over Oluns. I'm gonna show you how to do the mechanics. I'm gonna show you what gear you need, what crystals you need, what fucking elixirs you need. The extra tips and tricks if you mess up, and then also we gonna go over with profit breakdown and another tip is how I form parties. Okay, so let's get down from top to bottom. So let's hit up the mechanics, and to hit up the mechanics, we're gonna go over the last hour I did. The last hour I did, I've recorded it, and we're gonna go over it, and I'll explain the mechanics, positioning, everything to you guys. All right, let's go. Holy shit! Some stroking shit. All right, we're gonna go. We're gonna look at the mechanics here. Okay, so while you do Oluns, right, there are two types of golems that happen. One where the shy will misty the golem, and then the other one, the shy will not misty the golem. Okay, so we're gonna go with the first golem, which is where the shy misties the golem. I'm gonna show you the first one right here. So this is typically how your Olun run is going to go when the golem spawns, okay? So let me get to the Olun golem right here, and then I can show you what happens. Okay? All right, here we go. All right, here's the start of it, okay? So your first golem will always be Misty, and then it will be the E-buffed, then it will go back into Misty, then go back into E-buff. That's how it rotates, all right? So during the Misty phase, you don't want to use your 100%. You see this 100% BSR. You want to lock your 100% BSR. The keyboard shortcut is Alt plus B to lock it, so you don't accidentally use it on your skills. And then you don't want to use your E-buff while the Misty Golem is going on either. You want to use it while the E-buff rotation is going on. So during this Misty Golem, I'm gonna start from the front, as you can see right here. The Golem spawns, the Shy will buff right here, just like this. And then right after that, as soon as the Golem is visible right here, if you are a Shy player and you want to know when to Misty, this is when you Misty. As soon as you see this HP bar, you can Misty right here, and this will hit. So as you see, he is shown, and I'm casting my Misty right here. You will see a little wisp going to it, and you know you've tagged it. And now you just stay behind the golem throughout the whole entire thing right here, and just DPS. And all the purple attacks you see right here are basically fakes. What I mean by fakes is you don't really have to dodge them. They're not really going to one-shot you, but as long as you frontal guard the purple while you're in the frontal guard, while you're in the purple, you will not take damage. So what you want to do is just DPS the golem as best you can while staying in the back. This roar right here indicates the very next attack he's going to do is going to be the arm mechanic. And again, this roar right here, like I said with the purple AoEs, you can block. So watch what happens here, okay? So the golem is roaring 1, 2, 3. You see the 3 roars right there? You can frontal guard all of that attack. Since Shy only has 2 frontal guards, down LMB, down RMB in the combo, I typically do down LMB, down RMB, and into a WF into right click just to heal off of all the mobs. As you saw, I lost HP, but I'm keeping my damage uptime while maintaining my frontal guard and not dying. You don't have to iframe because it's purple and indicating that you're going to get one shot. This skill does not one shot you. You want to upkeep as much damage as possible in this phase. So again, we're just in the back, we're just damage dumping, and as soon as you see this golem's arm go down, what I do is I see the arm coming this way, so I WF in the opposite direction. Let me show you. So you saw the golem arm coming down this way, and my character was right here. So what I do with my character is I WF behind it in the opposite direction. So whenever the arm goes down, I am directly behind the golem, ready to DPS it this way. All right, here we go. Let's watch it. So I get behind the golem, and the positions that you want to be in during this entire phase, I will highlight right now. And this is where you want to be, because this will hit the golem right here. So let's say this is the golem and this is the arm right here, right? What you want to do in this scenario is you want to be in a position that you can hit both of these. And where the best position is one right here, two right here, and three right here. All three of these positions are one of the best, if not the best. You can also be here also. These are typically the locations that I stand at when I do the golem. I've seen some of my friends do this all the way back here, but I personally do not like these at all, as being up here I can actually see my skills hit the arm. There's a damage indicator showing that you actually are hitting the arm. Sometimes we do not get the arm because of people that are standing back here that say they are actually landing damage, but they're not. And in my opinion, you can see because the arm is alive by the end of the rotation. So again, these are the locations. These four locations are the locations that I think are the best for you to be in, these X marks. And this is where you want to damage dump from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you should be hitting both of them. So while this is happening, you also, there's a reason why I stepped in front of the arm, okay? The reason why you want to do this mechanic just like this is for a simple reason, okay? You want to get the golem's HP low, as you see on the top. You want to get the golem's HP low right here. As you can see, this golem is like 20% HP. You want to get golem's HP low and then destroy the arm while its HP is low. So its arm goes down, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pay attention to the golem HP. As you can see, like right here, this is the I believe this is the Olin golem's HP bar. Oh, right, somewhere right here. And I'm paying attention to the Olin golem's HP bar. It's right here, if you can see it. And you want to get it low before going in the front to DPS the arm. But typically you will not outdo DPS like this. This is a pretty good party. That's why we were allowed to do this much damage, to actually go in the front and DPS the arm in the front. And the reason why you DPS the arm in the front is because you don't want to kill this golem itself. You just want to get its HP low and then make sure you kill the arm. And because this golem takes back attack damage, that's why the positioning to hit from the back, you want to hit both of these. But once you are in the front, your aim is only to aim at the arm, because you've already gotten the golem's HP low. All right, so we're gonna play it again. As you see here, we're doing the damage here, And then as soon as I see low HP, I move up to the front and I only focus the arm, or do my best to focus the arm. And okay, we missed the attack. At about 40% HP of the arm, this attack happens. Watch carefully. It's purple attack right there, this purple AoE, and you want to, you saw that burst right there? That's the attack that you want to 100% dodge. That is the thing that's going to kill you. This happens when the arm is about 40% HP, and always happens. The time to dodge is literally after the purple attack. So watch again. I'll play it in real time. The purple attack happens right here, and you don't have to dodge when there's purple. As soon as the purple goes away, that's when the attack happens. So that's when you need to dodge. So make sure whenever you see purple, you are out of your long casting animations and are ready to iframe, because if you don't, you will die. If you have a tier 3 block like a warrior or a guardian or something, that you can also do, and that will also save you, and you don't really have to iframe. But most classes that have spammable iframes can just be ready to iframe, just like that. After the arm breaks, he's going to do another roar as he did right before the arm went down. And again, for this roar, you can simply just frontal guard the roar. And another thing for shy players is you want to buff right after the arm is broken, because your first buff was at the start of the golem, and this is about 1 minute into the golem, and this is when he's kind of CC'd, so you can start doing your buffs, so you can reapply your buffs. This is your second time to buff. And again, I'm just using my skills and just staying healed. Again, elixirs are the things that are helping me stay alive. He does roar and he does do damage during this time, and what you really want to do is you just want to heal off of these golems that are up here, and frontal use your SLMB and SRMB. And if for other classes, you can use any frontal guards. If you cannot heal yourself during this phase and you have to iframe, just iframe. But typically for a shy, I can just frontal guard some of its damage, and then the other half I can just heal off of the golems because I'm doing damage actively. And now this golem is unhittable. As you can see, he has barely any amount of HP. So, but he's invulnerable. What really happens is bunch of baby mobs spawn around him, and you are just killing the baby mobs now. And there will be 3 spawns of this. One spawn was already that one. This is a second spawn, the outer golems. And the way you typically want to do this is you want to stand in the center of the golem. You want to stand in the center of the golem when all the baby mobs have spawned. So let me show you. All right. This happens as you see that purple ring around the thing. Purple ring around the golem indicates where the spawns are going to be. Boom, there it is. All right, let me show you right there. So there's a big circle that's happening right here around the golem. If you saw, there was some right here, there was some right here, there was some right here, some right here. All of the purple lines is where you know the mobs are spawning. They are basically invulnerable when they spawn, so you want to aggro them all into the center. First, you want to aggro them all into the center by just getting their attention or using skills on them. When they all clump up, that's when this is when you move out of the way to start doing DPS to their back. Okay, as soon as you start seeing them walk forward, they will all collide in the center. That's when you want to walk behind them. Walk behind them and then DPS inside. Okay, so watch what happens here. And for shies, another good time to buff is during this time. As soon as you see these spawns, you want to throw out your buffs right now. As you see me, I'm throwing my buffs out right now. Again, I'm in the center, and as you see, all these mobs have come to the center, and so I'm behind the mobs now, doing damage. And you just want to be on the outside of the mobs that were summoned, and you just want to DPS inside. And the goal is to just kill all the baby monsters, and another set of monsters will come up just the same way. And the best time again is to, as soon as you clear them, you're in the center, you can buff up again. A tip for shy, or if you have a caster, well, caster will just aggro the mobs inside, but a tip for shy is just keep playing your skills until they start moving, and then end your buff, because your buff does aggro mobs because you're considered hitting them. So sometimes I'll just hold my buffs like this and just wait in one of them. Again, the mobs come in and then I go out. You want to wait for the mobs to come in, and then you get behind them to DPS. And then right after the mobs are dead, the last wave, this golem will become active. Because he had sliver of HP, he instantly died from the skills, and that's how you do the golem with Misty. Okay, the golem you do with E-buff. This is how you know when what to do during that one. Okay, so let's let the golem play live, and then I'll explain on the way. So again, the shy starts off with buffs when the golem is spawning. And then the shy right after this golem is spawned or near spawn, shy will play the E buff, as you see right here. And whenever you see this icon right here on your buff bar, this one right here, this deep blue skill right here, this is the time where you pop your E buff, your Z buff, everything. So if you watch my Z buff right here, it's 92%. I don't know when was the last time I used it, but it's 92%. You want to use it during this golem. Your E buff and your Z buff on any character that you're playing, any DPS you're playing. This is the indication. Whenever you see the blue buff right here, this is the indicator that you have to use your E buff, your Z buff, and maximum amount of damage in the back, because this is a non-Misty Golem. There was my Z buff right there. And again, look at my positioning here, okay? It's the same. This is where the golem is. This is where his arm is. And my positioning is either here, 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 or here. Like, these are where you're supposed to be positioned. As you see, my ally is right here, I believe, and I don't see my other ally, but probably somewhere in here that I don't see. And you just want to do damage. And another thing to watch out is this HP bar. This says Olun Golem, and then this HP bar is the arm. The reason why you want to look out for this HP bar is because you want to make sure that you are ready to iframe its giant AoE once it reaches about 40% HP. So I'm paying attention to this HP bar, trying to see when it gets to about 40% HP, so I can iframe it. And then this, I'm just watching it so it doesn't die. So I'm looking at this HP bar. So first thing first, get your positioning right, okay? Second thing, look at this HP bar. In your mind, understand what this represents. This represents how low you want to get. Basically, you want to get it into like 10% range if you can. And then this right here, you want to be ready to iframe at 40% HP. So let's roll. So we're doing damage. This is about 40% HP. This is not good right now, but we're dumping damage as much as we can in the back. And again, he does the giant AoE. And as you see, my character, I'm iframing. There you go. And then again, we're ready to dump more damage in the back. And as you see right there, the golem's HP was around 10 to 15%, quite low. And now back to the same thing. When this golem is arms dead, he's going to do another purple attack. And for the shies, as you see right here, your buffs are 10 seconds each right now. So the best time to buff is probably right here. As you see, I'm buffing again right here to keep my buffs up. And I'm going to use my frontal guard skills and then kill the mobs to heal off of the mobs while doing damage during the purple. You don't want to iframe for no reason because that skill does not kill you. At nighttime, you do want to be wary about the purple AoEs. They can kill you, or they probably will kill you, but you gotta trade it to understand the purple AoE damage and see what you can and can't get away with, because understanding that purple AoE's damage will allow you to do better hours and output more DPS. In nighttime, what I typically do is iframe 1 or 2 roars, frontal guard some, and then start DPSing. That's what I typically do. Again, they're just roars. And those are roars. What about things like a stomp or like ground pound? Any big AoEs that you see that is not that arm attack, you can frontal guard it. You can trade it. You can heal it. You can, you can all that, because they don't one-shot you. And the AoE might look big all over the screen, but the damage that's coming out is coming from the golem. So as long as you're facing the golem, you will block that damage. Again, we're right here waiting. We're pulling the mobs in. They come in, and then you walk out just like that, outside of the golem, and then you start doing damage again. They're all in. You don't need a witch to group them all together with a red orb. They just run in as long as you aggro them all, as you saw right there. Again, another good time to buff is right now. Oh, there you go. I'm buffing right there. Again, I'm not perfect on Shy, and I don't have the perfect DPS combo on Shy, but I'm just showing you how it's done, because I do lazy grind. And as you see here, like, not everything has to be perfect because the grind is going fine. The only thing that really matters is positioning and getting the damage out. And those are the two ways, not two ways, those are the two golems that you need to see to know how to do Oluns. You need to know how to do the Misty one and a non-Misty one. Those are the two right there. So in the Misty one, you saw what to do, and the non-Misty, you saw what to do. So it's going to be back and forth, right? So since this was a non-Misty one, the next one is going to be the Misty one, and the following one's going to be the non-Misty one, okay? And again, and if you ever lose track of something at the start of Golem, just pay attention. At the start of Golem, did you have blue buff or did you not have blue buff? If you had blue buff, then you pop your E buff and Z buff. If you didn't, then you don't. So typically, just look out at your buff bar. If you see it, just pop it all. If you don't see it, if you want to just brain dead grind, this is how you do it. You just keep your eye out for the blue buff. You use your E buff, Z buff then. And if you don't, then you just follow DPSing. And Alt B to lock your BSR if you need to. Alright. So the next thing we're going to talk about is gear, crystal, add-on, and buffs. Okay? Let's talk about that. Alright. So this is how I started doing Oluns myself. Okay? This is what I had when I started doing Oluns myself. And I recommend if you have this, you are fine to go Oluns. Okay? This is what I started Oluns with myself at 300 AP, not even 301. And this is how I started. I had both Kabula artifacts. I had 2 pen narcs. This is what I had. As you can see, my gear is not maxed out. You don't really need maxed out gear, and you are lacking damage, as you see right here. But this is where I would start personally. But then once you start getting some silver, consider getting your free pen Kaposha, because you get 2 free pen Kaposhas now. So consider this. As you can see, I also have all my cups, and they're all damage ones. Damage cup, damage cup, damage cup, damage cup, damage cup. They're all damage cups. This is somewhere where I would come here with. If you have both of your pen rings, you have 2 Tet Deborekas, you have 1 pen Black Star, and you have your Kabulas. This is something where I would come here with. On a Shy, I use Kabula artifacts with Death Blow, but you want to figure out whatever the best PvE artifact combo is for your own class. For a Shy, it's the Death Blow. So this is what I started with, and this is what I recommend to start with. My gear currently looks like this right now. This is what I do it with right now. The only thing that has changed is the pen deboreka. Alright, let's talk about the crystals now. Now, this might get a little controversial on what to use. Okay? So, the essential crystals for PvE Oluns is this, okay? It's a giant crystal. You don't need a red battlefield version. You can just use a normal giant one. And this one right here, this one's basically cheap, like 300k or something, or a mil. And then adamantine, you can just use this one. These 2 are very cheap. These 2 are mandatory. Another thing that's mandatory is a Valor Crystal, 5 AP and 2 crit levels. Then a Jiren, which gives you plus 3% all resistance. If you don't have a Jiren, does this one give you 3%? No, okay. I feel like Jiren tier is mandatory if you don't hit the 100% resistance. If you hit the 100% resistance, you don't really need the Jiren tier. You can use the Jiren crystal for the monster AP and the monster damage reduction. The next up is Rebelliouses. I use Rebelliouses. Corrupted crystals. I run corrupted crystals over the back attack ones personally. Then brutal decimation, 2 brutal decimation, and 2 Akrods. This is the core of your build. Now, if you have a Garmot heart, as you can see, I have 4 empty slots right here, right? You have 4 empty slots. Typically, these 4 empty slots will go to a Macaloid, right? But if you don't have these 4 empty slots, you can typically do what I do, okay? You have a lot of options, or not really. You don't have much options because you can't use 4-piece rooms. Macaloids, my bad, not homes. What I do personally is I run another Valor and then two of these absorption crystals. Now, these absorption crystals don't really give you much tankiness from getting one shot by the arm itself, but what it does allow you to do is trade during the purple AoEs. This is why I personally run the two absorption crystals. You can, if you are not hitting the AP cap, as earlier when you saw my early, like my very first build, I was not running the absorption crystal. Now, since I do have a deboreka, I do have the luxury of giving up a little bit of AP, and so that's why I run the absorption personally. But if you don't want to, you have two other options, in my opinion. If you really wanted defensive options, you could use bitterness. Okay, you could use bitterness. You you could also use you could use special attack evasion, for sure. You can use Glorious Crystal of Oluns for attack and casting speed. Two of these. You could do that also. And then, of course, the main choice, though, don't get this twisted and get away from this. The main choice is the +5 AP from anything. A Karma or an Adidas. As you can see, a Karma gives you 5 AP. Or Adidas, things like that give you 5 AP is what you really want. But if you wanted defensive options, those are the two, like bitterness. The reason why I consider the attack speed a defensive option is because you are stuck in your animation for a lot less, so you can iframe right out of your skill. That's why I consider the attack speed defensive option, and then the bitterness. Those are your three defensive options, in my opinion. If you really wanted to, I would go that, but you want to run the AP if you can. And if you have the 4 slots, you run the 4 Macaloids. That's the best way to get the damage. All right. All right. So those were the crystals. Let's talk about the add-ons. So I'm hopping in game, and I'll show you. All right. So let's talk about the add-ons now. Okay. So the add-ons you want to run that are key is monster damage, plus monster damage, plus crit hit rate, plus attack and casting speed, plus DP. You don't really need the plus DP, but I have the plus DP because it was just an extra. Like there you will have some extra slots, so I typically slot in the plus DP and the instant HP recovery on a couple of skills. And then plus movement speed is not really needed. The HP recovery is not really needed. Actually, this is a skill that I don't even use. It's not really core. And then this one right here, the accuracy and evasion, accuracy plus and evasion minus. So these two right here. Let me point it out to you. These two right here are needed. This minus. Whoops. Whoops. Okay. What is going on? Keep messing up with the shortcuts, but not the plus DP. The plus DP is not needed, but the minus DP right here, the accuracy and evasion, the attack casting speed and plus crit, and the monster damage. These are the things that you're looking for in your own skills personally. And then the rest of it, you can just fill it with whatever you want. For example, HP hit that you saw and the plus DP right here. All right, so those are the add-ons that you want. And then up next, let's go talk about the buffs you want to run. The food buff, the church, house, villa, everything. All right. Here we go. The consumable tab. And here it is. All right. So you want to use the body enhancement Villa buff for 10% all resist. Your goal is to get 100% knockdown resist and stun resist. Those are your two goals, okay? And that's why you get the body enhancement. Well, what you really need it for. You do get additional things like the AP and the damage reduction and things like that, but you really need it for the all resistance. Another thing I use is simple cron meal for monster damage reduction percentage. As you see right here, the monster damage reduction percentage is huge. People don't really talk about that percent damage reduction because I don't know why it's not talked about, but it's like the highest damage reduction you can get from monsters, period. It's the damage reduction percentage, not flat. Another reason why you want to use simple is to increase your AP against monster, because this place is high AP, monster AP requirement. Perfume of Courage, again, you want to hit the higher AP, so that's why you use Perfume of Courage. If you do hit the cap, you can start using the other perfume, the other courage, or not courage, the other perfume, which increases all spec attacks by 10%, I believe. It's called Deep Sea Elixir. You could use that if you hit AP cap, in my opinion. If you don't, I feel like you should just use Perfume of Courage. And also, if you can't get Perfume of Courage off the marketplace, I feel like you can definitely get not Perfume of Courage, but Deep Sea Elixirs from the market. So you can do Deep Sea Elixirs because you make plenty of silver. You are able to afford this, so you should run that. Let's talk about all the elixirs that you need. Okay, the elixirs that you need is Endless Frenzy. It gives you AP and minus DR. Draining, Assassin, Detection, Concentration for accuracy, Soul Reaper for HP heal, Griffin, extra comma damage, lethal destruction, spec attack, which is pretty good. Remarkable Will, Monster damage reduction percentage, again, big. Steel defense, damage reduction period. The two church buffs, which is bravery and blessing. And then the last two things are the furniture buff, which is plus 15. If you can't get this one plus 15, you can get the lower ones, which are artisan or the 1 hour ones. I know these are quite scarce right now, so do what you can. If you can't use this, either get DR or accuracy or anything, anything. Me personally, I don't endorse this, but when my 3 hours are up and I have 5 hour of church buff, I don't go back for an hour or 2 hours or whatever to get back my house buff. I just roll with it. And then the wind howling set for the plus 5 AP. All right, so that's all of the gear things that you need. You need. I showed you the gear that you need, the crystal that you need, the add-ons, and the buffs you need. Now I'm going to tell you what to do during a certain thing or certain things. Okay, so certain things that I need to cover is what do you do when the arm mechanic fails? Okay. Let's get to the arm mechanic real quick and I can show you what happens. Okay, as you see right here, this is the arm mechanic happening right here, right? So the body's this HP and the arm is this HP, right? The arm is almost like 70% HP. This is what happens in a fail scenario. If you guys only hit the body and not the arm, and the arm lives by the end of this whole animation, what he will do is he's gonna stand up, start using skills, and then he'll do the roar attack again. When he does the roar attack again, after that he'll do the arm attack, and then you have to break the arm again. So the roar mechanic is the same. All the attacks that he does is just dodge the purple, frontal guard the purple, back attack if he has HP. If he doesn't have HP, do your best not to DPS him because he's going to do the roar. You can just iframe the roar, and then while the roar is happening, you wait for him to slam down like this, and as soon as he slams down, you want to take out his arm. So make sure you do not fail, or else you have to wait a bit for him to do the arm attack, and then you have to break the arm again. That's what happens if you fail the arm the first time. All right, now I gotta show you the two rotations in game. And then I'll show you the settings and some tips and tricks about how to do your first hour and not grief others. All right. So let's get to it. So in games, I'll show you the two rotations that there are with Oluns. Alright, as you see where I marked, that's the first rotation, or in that general vicinity. Alright, we are here at the first Dehkia Oluns spot. This is the indicator right here, the purple thing on the top, and then there's big giant dildo, rock dildo right here, and then there's water here. So if you do die here, you're gonna come out with swim animation. This is why most people don't do this one, but I personally like this one. I personally like this one because it's just nice to look at. That's the only reason why I really do like it. So there's that. And then the way to get to the second one is this way. And this is the location for the second one right here. And then if you see on top, you can see that mark right there. Big giant rock. And then you can park your horse right here. Do your tent right here. And these are the two locations for Oluns. All right. Now, let's talk about settings, okay? So, how do I do my Oluns, all right? So, this is how my Olun's set up, all right? My buff bar is right here, so I can pay attention to my E buff. Remember what I said when you guys should be popping your E buff and Z buff? This is the reason why my buff bar is right here. I can pay attention to my buff bar if it's right here. Me personally, you can move it anywhere you want. So this is one thing I have. Another thing that's helpful is if you do this. Let me show you what I mean. So if you press Shift W on your keyboard, what it's going to do is it's going to increase the height of where you see, right? So you can do down also to lower it, then up. So I do Shift W all the way up, so my character's cursor is over here and I can see up here. And the reason why you want to do this is once you attack a golem right here, well, one of those Dehkia Golems spawn. Now, as you can see right here, you can see this golem's HP very easily and keep track on how much damage you have to do, right? So again, I'm doing damage to the golem, and again, I can pay attention to the top of my screen and pay attention to the Olun golem's HP, and that's the advantage of using the shift up during the Oluns. And don't worry, this view does not stay like this all the time. If you just swap characters or go into the character selection, this view will turn back to how it is normally, so if you don't like it permanently up. But I really do recommend to do a shift up because knowing the golem's HP is quite crucial. If you don't want to use shift up, you can just look up at the HP bar while doing it, if you want to do it like that. But I personally just use shift up just like I do at Gaifen, and I just move my viewing angle up so I can see my HP, the mob's HP bar up top. All right, let me talk about how to handle the first hours, okay? So the first hours you're here, right? You have to do the mechanics based on the HP, and you don't know what the HP is. So I recommend doing the Olin's group with people in Discord so they can tell you the HP. Like, hey, can you start attacking the arm now? Because again, if the HP is low, then you don't want to be attacking it, so you'll kill the golem. You don't want to kill the golem because now you have to wait until the next golem spawns. All right, so you want to because you want to avoid that, you should be in a party with other people so they can tell you. You can take in hints like, oh, that guy's in the front for a reason. If you trust him and he's that good, and he's actually good, you can move in front with him after just seeing how he plays and where he positions, right? How other people in your party are positioning. You can do that, but if not, and if you think you're griefing people, if you think you don't want to do Olins because you're gonna be griefing people, I would recommend you be in a party until you get the knowledge of the Olin Golem himself, so you can now start understanding and seeing the mechanic yourself. And the last tip I am going to give you is this: the party forming tip. Okay, so out of my time grinding here, I've been grinding with people. Every time I see a new person in my party and I think they are doing decently well, what I do is I just send them a friend request like this, and then I have a setup in my friend list, it just says Oluns, and then I just put everybody in here. I add them. If they accept, boom. Next time you're trying to Oluns, you just hit everybody up like this. You just go down the list. You just message everybody. Like for example, hey, you down to grind? Boom. Again, you down to grind? Boom. And if they're already in a party, they'll let you know. So again, I just have a list like this that I just go down and farm a party. If this does not work, another tip is you go into the menu right here, you type in party, and then you can create a party finder via this menu. Because I'm on Arsha, I cannot create it, so I'll swap and I'll show you again. Um, another thing, another thing I can show you guys is, there are some discords that allow you to have access to other players that also do Olans, like the Olan Discord and so on and so forth. You guys can find it. You guys have access to Discords. I'm not gonna go over them. There are some elite ones. And so on and so forth. But my general way is I just go party finder just like this. I post just like this right here. As you see right here, shy looking for 2-man DPS Olans. Just like this. I just post one myself. LF 2M Dehkia Oluns. I think that's how you spell Dehkia Oluns. Am I wrong? Let me see. Nope, that is not how you spell it. Even though that guy has spelled it for me, I questioned how I spelled it. So just like this, I click register like this, and then click on this button, and this will announce it to the whole server. If you guys have megaphones, you can announce it in world server, not via this. You just have to type it out yourself, but you can do that. Typically you just want to join. If somebody's already finding a party like that, you can just do that just like that. And those were all the tips that I could give you about that. All right, let's get into the last thing I want to talk about is profit per hour. How much money do you actually make at Olens? Because let's be real, you don't want to grind a spot that you're making 0 silver at, or silver that you're unhappy with, that your goals are like, man, I need 150 billion silver, but I'm only making 1 billion silver an hour. That means I need to grind 150 hours to get the upgrade that I want. So let's talk about the silver per hour here so you can understand how much silver you make. For that, I'm going to open up Garmonth. And you understand this, okay? Before we even talk about profit per hour, just understand I personally do not calculate my own trash, my own yep, let me open up Garmoth. My own trash. I don't calculate my stones that I get. I don't calculate anything. So this is just going based on rough numbers and off of going Garmoth, okay? So global grind tracker. and then I go at Olin Valley. Boom. All right. I use blue loot scroll. 3.5k trash, about 3.5k. I typically do around this. Yeah. I agree. Typically do around this, but the numbers of other things here are false. I don't get 300 of this and 350 of this. I typically get like 480 of these and like 550. So either like 500 of these and like 550 of these. And then again, I don't count Kafras and dust. So I don't know about that. So boom. And then the Olucus crystal, I count this as basically 0 silver. I count this as basically 0 silver itself also. This is kind of worthless too. Deborekas, as you can see, are worth 400 mil per hour. I'm guessing this is also with tax because they themselves are worth 825, but the multiplier is 0.6. Do I agree if it's 0.6? I feel like it's almost like 1 an hour, if not barely below that. I feel like it's almost 1 an hour, if not like 0.8, 0.9, as of right now. Even when there is no grind event going on, I feel like it's almost 1 an hour. So this could be a higher, but since I don't have a pro version of Gormat, I cannot show you the higher drop rate value that this changes to. Artifacts, you do get some artifacts. It adds value, but I've never liquidated my artifacts. Lungs, they don't have any value, and merchant ring, they don't have any value. But most people are typically here to get either merchant ring or to get a Tet Deboreka earring by enhancing them yourself. All right, so with this math itself, it's saying you make about 111 billion. I mean, not 111 billion. 1.1 billion silver an hour with just this. All right. But we know that Deboreka enhancing is quite profitable. So I'm going to break down the math for you on the Deboreka enhancement so you can understand how much silver you're actually making with Deboreka enhancing on top of this 1 billion silver that you're making. Okay. So as you see, you make 1 billion silver from this. And now let's break down the cost for, or not cost, but the Oluns silver. All right, here we go. All right, so first and foremost, I'm going to start off with everything that is given, and then I'm going to break down the money per hour, okay? So Deboreka worth at 825, tax 0.85. The stacks I use, again, these are not the best stacks to use. These are just the stacks I use because they just get the job done. You feel me? Yeah, these are the Indian stacks. They're not they're not the best ones, but these are just my rough stacks that I use. For Pry, I use 50. Do I use 70, 80 for Try, and 110 for Tet. Average crons you need is about 10k, 9.4 ish. This is not an exact number, but this is the ballpark. Average crons you need, or average bases you need, is 14.5, basically 15. Round that up. What is the total cost? I calculate the total cost basically as the crons and the bases required. I don't have the stack cost in here. So I'm leaving it out. So just ignore the stack cost. The sale price that I'm going to be using for this example is 80 billion. And the reason why I'm using the 80 billion example is because that's the current price of Deborekas on the marketplace right now. Deboreka earring, boom, boom, boom. About 80. It says 82, but I would push it. When you do list this, please list it at the highest. Don't do this. If you're going to undercut somebody, undercut them by 1. Don't jump this. Like, I understand undercutting, but if you jump this, stop. Just stop. Just stop, bro. What? These people down here are going to buy your stuff. Just stop, dude. Don't do that. So that is why I'm using 80 billion silver. All right. Now, how do I calculate profit per debo? This is how I calculate profit per debo. Cron cost times average crons. So if I use market crons, I have a market cron value. If I use vendor crons, I have a vendor cron cost in here, and the average amount of crons is the same between both of them. And then the deboreka cost, you have to because you count the deboreka cost, right? This is why profit per debo will be lower, because you also have to count that you grinded the deboreka, and if you value them at 0 and then you say I'm making like 3 billion silver for a debo, or like 5 billion silver from a debo, you're not counting the value that you grinded that debo. So this is why I count all 3 of these, and then I divide it by the bases needed. Okay, this is how I calculate profit per debo, because I also count the cost of the deboreka inside of it, and then I divide it by the average bases needed, which is 14.5, and then the total profit is basically the cost minus the sale, and the sale is with the tax, because remember, once you sell things, you have to pay the annoying tax with the value pack. So this is the cost. All right, now those are the 2 things we're going to use, and we're going to talk about how much profit you'll make with vendor crons and market crons. Okay, so if you are using vendor crons, your cron cost is 3 million silver per cron. If you're using market crons, you're gonna be paying 1.641490 exact value. Okay, the average profit per debo that you will have with vendor cron is, whoops, I believe this is 1.9 or 1.7. Let me search this up real quick. Let me make sure that I'm right. I might have messed up. Yep, this is 1.9 billion and this is supposed to be 1.7. All right. So the average profit per deboreka that you're going to make by using vendor cron is 1.9 billion silver. And this is on top of the cost of deboreka. So you got to understand, this deboreka is worth 825 plus 1.9 billion silver. This is what you're actually making every deboreka. Every deboreka you're making that amount of silver plus 825. And the only reason why I don't add it to this value right here is because you are devaluing your hour if you count it as profit. That's why I subtracted it from here. So this is the reason why your average profit per deboreka is 1.9 billion silver and not higher than this. So typically when you're grinding Oluns and you're getting 1 deboreka an hour and you're doing because Garmat said 1 billion silver and 1.1 billion silver an hour, and then you add the deboreka on top of it as 1.9, you're basically doing 3 billion silver an hour, making TED, buying vendor crons and selling it. And your total cost of doing this whole process, this is just an average cost. If you hit average, this is what you will get. This is what the cost will be. It's about 40 billion silver. I'm not going to really get into the exact number of this, but 40 billion silver the cost, and the average profit you'll net from making one pet is 28 billion silver. If you're doing vendor crons, you're going to net 28 billion silver. So I recommend trying, I mean, I can't really recommend you just get one deboreka an hour, but if you do end up getting one deboreka an hour, you can understand that you're making about 3 billion silver an hour doing this process. Okay, if you are by a chance using only market crons somehow with miracle, your cron cost will be way lower than this, almost half. Your profit per deboreka will be lowered, and the reason why the profit per deboreka is lowered is because your cron cost is lower than the vendor crons. Okay, and then your total the total cost again, whoops, the total cost should be the same. Let me check it again. Oh, nope. Your total cost should not be the same. My bad. The reason why the total cost is not this, the reason why your total cost in vendor crons is higher than the marketplace one is because your cron stones cost is higher. On average, your total cost is 28 billion using the market crons, and then if you're using the vendor crons, your average cost is 40 billion silver. And then the average profit for the vendor crons, as I said, is 28 billion silver, and the average profit that you make using only market crons is 41 billion silver, selling at 800. So if you wanted to look at how much silver you made from in-hand, again, this right here is counting the profit that you make off of deborekas itself, but as you can see, the average profit is higher on this one than this one because the cost is higher. I might have done I might have messed up on some math here. If you do know what math I have messed up on, let me know in the comment. But I feel like I've gotten down everything. I've gotten down as much as I can. There might be a slight mess up, but this is how the math looks like in terms of money per hour. If you're grinding deborekas or not grinding deborekas, and you make about 3 billion silver. If you make 3 billion silver elsewhere, then and also, like, I know some people are like, man, why would I grind Oluns when I can grind Gyfins? Gyfins, I can AFK watch movies. Well, once you start learning to do Oluns, once you start learning to grind anything, it all becomes AFK in nature. If you catch my stream, I stream on twitch.tv/Christian4. If you catch my stream, you'll just see me lay back and just grind Oluns. Like, it doesn't matter. I have 3 screens. I'm usually doing 3 different things at the same time. So I can't accept the excuse that people aren't doing Oluns because XYZ activity is more brain dead than the other. Let's just be real. Every activity in BDO is brain dead. And well, this was my full complete guide to Oluns. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, if there is anything that I missed, let me